Hi. You know how some conversations don't just pass time, but they leave fingerprints? This one is like that. In this episode of Kaleidoscope, I'm joined by Maya and Raldia, two women who are sharp, grounded, and completely unafraid to speak from the heart. What starts off as a casual catch-up turns into a conversation about what it means to believe in something, what it means to belong somewhere, and what it means to be yourself, even when the world keeps handing you scripts that just don't fit. We talk about faith, but not the spiritual kind. We talk about family, not the ones you're born to, but the ones that choose you back. And we talk about freedom, not the big abstract idea, but the freedom that lives within you, between the breaths you take from one moment to the next. It's unpolished, but it's alive, and it's divided into. This is part A, and part B will come soon. So come sit with us. You don't need to know anything, just bring yourself. Welcome to Kaleidoscope. Welcome to Kaleidoscope, Perspectives Beyond the Surface. I'm Ruby Rain Leo. Today I have two of my brand new online friends, Raldia and Maya. Oh, should I say Raldia?
Raldia.
Raldia and the beautiful Maya and the beautiful Raldia. Today we are going to talk about how we perceive and experience life and ask each other questions about that and just see where that goes. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having us, Ruby. This is so nice.
So much.
Thank you. Do you guys want to introduce yourself?
Yeah. So my name is Raldia. I live in Bucharest, Romania, and I work for an IT company. I have a boring office job. Although my office is my balcony and I get to spend time with my babies.
The best office.
Yeah. And some of the things I enjoy doing is being out in nature, reading, listening to music, talk about life with my friends, and just experience myself in different stages of my life and enjoying myself.
Amazing. Thanks, Raldia. What about
you,
you?
Raldia?
Thank you so.
Okay, so I'm Maya. I'm American, but I'm a Latina first. I will always claim that first. I'm in Texas, so that's where I am in the global span of things, right? I guess I'll do a similar intro to you, Raldia. I'm a project manager, so very detail-oriented, kind of always on task. Hard to get away from that, by the way. Very, very hard. And we'll talk a little more about that as I'm talking about my prompt. But when it comes to me, who am I? I'm somebody who is naturally an introvert. I like to spend my me time in solitude. If I was in your room, I would just live with those plants. Like I would never leave that room. Like that's where I would be. Yeah. They're beautiful. I love nature. I love photography. I love poetry. I love reading. I love the smell of books. So I like to go to bookstores and just walk around aisle by aisle.
I know what you mean. I used to work in a bookstore. That was my first job.
Yep. But that smell just does something to my brain. You know,
Actually printed books. Yeah.
Yeah. So it smells so good. It's the same thing with coffee. I love coffee. And I think for being a Latina, I have a very different perspective than a lot of people, just because I have done a lot of inner work in comparison to other people that are my age and with my background. But hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I've never done that for the podcast, so I will do it too. I am Ruby Rain Leo. I am a teacher in Suzhou, China, and I am originally from South Africa. I've been living in China for 10 years in October. That'll be 10 years. And if you want to know more, listen to more podcasts. I have set up this random wheel spinner thing. I've just taken our missing compatriot out, and I'm going to spin this, and we'll see who gets to go first with their prompt.
Okay.
That's good.
It is Maya.
How did I know that? The last one to send it in, right? And the first one to go. Okay, so my prompt was very spontaneous, let me tell you. Didn't want to give it too much thought because I wanted it to be fresh on my mind today. So all of my life, I felt that I had to fit in a box, whether that was as a kid, as an adult, right? Whether it was because I was a Latina or a woman or whatever box people put me in. As I grew up, I kind of started feeling this resentment towards it, almost like hatred towards that box, right? And where I was placed. So I began in my journey probably after I turned 27, I think. I began to slowly like rip away at it. And it was little by little, ripping until I was finally freed from it. So now in my 30s, I actually feel more like myself. I feel free to be whoever and whatever I want to be. And it's amazing. Yeah.
It's beautiful to hear. Really, really beautiful.
Thank you.
That speaks really deeply to me and my process and experience of life right now. But we'll wait for that. Raldia, do you want to ask first, or should I go?
You can go. I can.
You mentioned that at like 24 or 27, you started opening this box.
Mm-hmm.
How has your identity changed in that process, and how do you feel now that you're outside of it? It reminds me of that movie, like, was it 30, Flirty, and...
Yeah, 30 or Flirty, yeah. So for me, it just turned into, I got to a point that I didn't really recognize myself. And be it that we all grow, right? We all grow, and there's different versions of ourselves in different point of our lives. But as I approached 30, it was like, is this really who I am at my core? Are the things around me, the people around me, really making me happy, right? That Marie Kondo documentary came out around that time too. And it was like, does this spark joy? Does this bring you happiness? So it kind of put a lot of things in perspective, because as a young child, young adult, I read a lot and I wrote a lot, and I spent a lot of time reflecting. And I found that in my 20s, I was so busy just being whoever people wanted me to be, that I was no longer holding those values like as something that really mattered. I was no longer really reading. I was no longer, because the books that I was reading were books that my then partner wanted me to read. Like, we should read this book together. And I was having an identity crisis. It was like, but these are not the things I want to read. These are not the things I want to do. I was also part of organized religion, like huge. I was part of all the little meetings and this and that at a local church. And it was like, are these people making me happy, or are they allowing me to grow? And I found that it wasn't. If anything, they were trying to fit me into this little box of what my faith should be, of who I should be. It's like, oh, you're a woman. Follow your husband. Oh, you're this. Do this. Oh, you cannot lead. You cannot do this. You have to do this. And as I started, as you called it, opening the box, I call it ripping it, because it was literally that. For me, it was getting away from people. It was leaving that organized religion. It was seeking my own truths that I just ripped and ripped and ripped until we're at the point where I am now. And it's like, I decide what I want to do. I decide what I want to read. I decide who I want to be today. And if tomorrow I want to be a different person, then damn it, I'll be a different person. Like, it doesn't matter because I get to make that choice. No one else is making that choice for me. As a child, especially a Latina, it's a saying. It's called calladita te miras más bonita, right? And Raldia, you know what that means. If you're quiet, you look prettier. If you're a quiet little girl, you look prettier. So it's that submissive mindset of just sit there, you look pretty. You're just a doll. They used to call me a muñeca when I was little. I was just a doll. I would just sit next to my mom in my frilly little dress and not say a word. And inside, in my mind, I had so many thoughts about everything.
Wow. So, are you still religious today? Like, do you
No,
not completely
no.
separated?
I'm what you would consider agnostic.
Okay.
I believe, in a higher power, but not in the one that is man-made.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've also become. I'm now an atheist. You could call me agnostic because I hope there is a power, but I can't say that I believe in one. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have so many things to say, but we'll let Raldia speak.
But what I want to ask you, Maya, is what were some of the tools that you found effective to step away from that and allow yourself to be the person that you are today?
I think getting back into reading and writing, because that's how I explored myself when I was young, right? And that's how I processed all of my emotions. So getting back into that, I think helped a lot. I don't think it was the only thing because I also started listening to podcasts. I started talking to people from different areas, different walks of life. Like, I've never been opposed to talk to people from different religions or anything like that. Tell me, teach me. I want to learn. So I became, I guess, a student again of everything. I wanted to relearn everything.
So you found this hunger for the new life.
Yep, and that I'm still there. Obviously, right? I came on this app and wanted to make international friends and was like, I need to know more. I need to know what's out there. I need to explore. And like, it's been this very freeing moment of there is more to the life that I have right now. I am still young enough to choose and make those choices and so on and so on and so on. Like, yeah, that's where I'm at now.
I'm so glad to meet the person that you are today. I'm sure like you were an amazing person before, but but I'm just like very excited for you, to be honest. Very excited for you to discover yourself, right?
Yeah.
And I relate to that. I really do relate to that.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I tell everybody because they're like, "Oh, you're in your 30s and this and that," and I'm like, "You don't understand. My 30s have been my best years, like the best years for me because I am me. I'm not some little mold that people want to use for this or that. Like, it's just me." And yeah, it's freeing. I feel free. Do you know that song by Nelly Furtado? Like a bird, like a bird. Waiting.
Yeah.
Yep, that song. It's literally like if you could put a theme song to right now, it's that. I feel like a bird. Like I can go anywhere. I can be anything. There's nothing really tying me. I love my family, adore my family, right? And will always have that tie to them. But at the end of the day, they don't make me who I am. And I don't make them who they are.
Wow. And that's like, I'm having family issues right now, right? And I adore my family. I grew up in a super loving family, and I wish that they would understand what you just said. Like, you in you invite family into your life. It's not the other way around. You're not obligated to have them there.
Yep.
And normally that would be expected, but sometimes having them around hurts more because they are just not. They don't appreciate who you are,
Yeah. Yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah. And I'm there with you. There have been moments in my life in this journey that I had to cut family off. Like, I didn't speak to my mother or my sister at different points in life for 3, 6 months. It varied. But it had to happen because I needed them to understand that I will always be myself. And it's either love me for truly who I am and whatever version it is that I am, or I will remove you from my life, not because I don't love you. It's because I love you so much that if you feel that you have to put me in this box, then I can't be there. I will still be wishing you the best and will still be loving you from afar. The love will never end. It's just simply, if that's what you need, I will give it to you.
yeah. Also, another bird allegory. If you love it, set it free.
Yeah. I should probably go get a tattoo of a bird at this point.
You called it tearing away the box. For me, life was a cave.
Oh.
And I was stuck in that cave until one day there was a cave in, and light lanced through and pierced me in my eyeballs, and I was so terrified that I crawled deeper into the cave. And it took decades before I realized that I'm going the wrong way.
Yep. And I completely understand that point of view too. That was me at 25.
Because you don't always know that you're in this box or in this cave, or but how do you know that you're stuck if you've always been stuck?
Yeah.
This reminds me of Plato's allegory. Is it Plato? I think it's Plato.
Oh gosh, I'm terrible with philosophers.
So there's this allegory, like people that are in the cave can see the shadows on the walls, right? Cast from the fire and things moving. And they have no idea what's going on outside, that there's a world outside. So whoever goes outside and then comes back to share this experience, they're gonna think it's crazy. You know, so until you don't make that step to go outside and experience and get out of your comfort zone and be part of this universe, of this experience where we are all going through, you're just gonna look at shadows on the wall and think that is life, and that is how life should be lived.
Yeah.
You know, because you have people around you telling you the same thing, seeing the same thing, right? And I think that is also why we need community, and we need to, once we've made a decision that, okay, I need to move on with my life and be whoever I need to be, whoever I feel that I am, to find people that are either in this process as well with us, and also people that have went through this process, and able to, in order to support you and support your growth.
Yeah, or even just people that somebody doesn't have to know what you're going through to be able to say, I can see you're going through something, and I'll be the safe space. You can come
also
here and feel safe.
Yep. Yeah. And that's go ahead.
It's rare to find people like that. At least it has been rare for me, like finding people with high emotional intelligence, right? Yeah, and I wish I could meet more people like this. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna fix my light because I'm being attacked. I'm being
If
attacked by...
anything, it went on with the, light piercing your eyeball.
Oh, yeah, right?
It went with that. Yeah, but you made me think of yet another bird allegory. It's analogy technically, it's the birds of a feather flock together, or in Spanish,
Yeah.
dime quién son tus amigos y te diré quién eres tú. And I've been hearing that like all my life. My mom is the one that taught me that. But it's so true. If you want to change your perspective and change who you are and open that box or get out of that cave or rip the box or whatever it may be, you have to change the people that you surround yourself with somehow, some way. And I've always considered that it's better to have like 1, 2, 3 friends that truly know you, accept you. And even if they're not in the same walk of life as you, they can at least open their arms and say, talk to me. I am here.
So can you change your feathers?
Yes. Yes, you can. Did you know that a crow changes their feathers? The colors of their feathers look the darkest, but if you shine light on them, you'll see turquoise and different jewel tones. Yeah. It can all be changed.
I don't know if I agree or disagree on this one, like changing. I have let's say an issue with opposites in general, and I like to place myself in the middle usually. And the thing about change, I'm questioning whether it's actually a change or it's just another part of us we discovered. Because we can't just like look back and say that wasn't me, right? Because it's part of your experience. And for me, it's hard to call it like I'm a different person now, you know?
For sure. And I agree with you on that.
I
Because
actually
even, yeah, I
agree with you too. What I think changes is the perception that people have about us. So in their reality, you become a different person. But in ours,
it's just a different side.
Mm-hmm.
The crow is still the same crow, but we've shone a light on it.
We just unlocked another level.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or think of like a baby bird, right? They have the fluffy little feathers. They're fluffy. Yeah. Those have to fall off for the other feathers to come out. They never change per se.
Yeah.
It's just part of life. It has to happen. However, you will have birds that never release all of those baby feathers. And I think that's where some people stay at. Right? Some people hold on and maybe don't want to adapt or don't want to allow that change to occur. So they hold on so tightly.
They just stay in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I think for me, luckily, now I have thrived in the uncomfortable zones, that I no longer fear it, no longer dismiss it. It's just simply, okay, that's different. Let's see what that brings.
I have a bird soaring story, and out of the comfort zone at the same time thing to share that happened to me today. I try not to talk about this, especially in the group, not too much, because I'm worried, and I know that it's true that a lot of trans girls they can come across as cringe about it because they want to speak about it so often, but it's because it's so exciting. It's like the biggest thing that you can experience. And today, I never thought that I would be able to get the treatment that I want and need in China. And it's been unbelievably easy, actually. It's been so easy just to, once I got over my initial anxiety, to go and see the doctors and get the prescriptions that I need. And I'm in this huge like weird sound with my school, but it doesn't matter because they can't do anything. Anyway, today I went to the hospital to refill my prescription and do blood tests. So, it's not every doctor. There's only one trans-positive doctor in Suzhou. And that's where I got my prescription, and they are far away. So I went to see another doctor today. I asked for the test. She said that's all good. And she asked me what else she needs to do for me. And I said, can you give me medicine? And she said, sure, what medicine? So I took out my prescription from the other doctor that basically says, he's a trans person. And she said, great, I'll give you this meds. And she tried to do the prescription, but the hospital blocked it because my marker is male. And she said, I can't give you them. You know what? Let me just change your marker to female. And then she did it at the hospital. And she still couldn't give me the prescription. So she wrote me a letter and sent me to admin. And she was like, you tell them to change this. And they did. Yeah, that was like, I'm
That's amazing.
over the...
Like to not go through so many channels and have to, have all the uncomfortable conversations and stuff like that. That's amazing. I'm happy for you.
Thank you. Yeah.
And it's so empty.
So good. I'm still giddy about it.
I'm happy for you. I love how that breaking those barriers, right? Little by little.
Exactly. And just there's so much anxiety coming from the States right now with Donald Trump's insane vendetta, and it's so nice to see that it's not everywhere that's like that. You kind of get inundated with it.
I think it's sad, what's happening at a global scale, because it's just like it's all a political game at the end for them, and for the people, it's their lives, it's the quality of their lives, and it's pretty sad what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, just to tell you a little bit about Texas, right? So Texas is known as one of the most conservative states. Texas acts like its own country, and it will, for example, if the Republicans within the country want to test out a theory, want to test out something and see how people will take it, they test it in Texas. And that's where I live. So, for example, like the anti-abortion laws and everything are crazy here. I have a blood disorder, so I could bleed out. If I were to become pregnant and I were to miscarry for whatever reason, because obviously I have that blood disorder, like any pregnancy that I have would be a high-risk pregnancy. Like that's just what it is. So it literally, they would just watch me die.
And
they would not do anything.
Women die.
They have. There's been, I think, 8 here in Texas alone. And we're talking about women that were already mothers, women that were 18 years old, like barely starting life. Like we're talking, it's just beyond me. Like I considered leaving Texas to move to Colorado, and I may still make that happen. And I've already told my family, and they were a little bothered by it. And I said, there's always airplanes. You can fly to see me. You can drive to see me. I can drive to see you. You can, I can fly.
Yeah.
Because like I said, nothing really ties me down. I have to put myself first.
Absolutely.
When it comes to that.
More and more.
That is one of the topics that really pisses me off. Like, and really makes me angry when people get to decide what happens to your body. And I have a very, very big issue with that. Like telling women you cannot get help with this, and they would just like watch you die rather than.
It's not even just you can't get help. It's you have to go through with this process that maybe you didn't opt into. And you don't have control over your own body. You just,
Yep.
we don't care about you. That's what it is. They don't care.
And I mean, these are men coming up with these laws, and it's crazy to me. It's like, do you not care about your children, your daughters, your sisters, your mothers? I mean, they could all be in this position. They could all find themselves one day right there, along with the others. Do you not care? Or let me guess, because you're a politician and you have the funds, you're going to fly them to Delaware to do it, huh? You're going to just... But then it doesn't apply to you.
Their own laws.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's a matter of time. I'm sure it's already happened. It must have already happened to some
Of course. Of course. I mean, Trump himself, he... What is it? He paid like $200,000 for one of his mistresses to have an abortion. Like, do you think he cares about
No way. It doesn't.
the fetus? No.
The only
It's just
thing he cares about is the new technocracy. That's what it is.
Yeah.
and the fact that they only use this because obviously the Democrats, right, are taking the other way, right? He needs to oppose this. I think there's just like this whole political. Sorry, English is not my first language. Am I? To come up here and there.
You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah, I mean, able to pronounce some words, but yeah, there's this political game that it's just a circus, and it's a circus. It happened before, and that's another reason I get angry usually. It's just like people not reading. I mean, you cannot say in 2025 that they're lying to you through the CV, right? With the news. I mean, you have access to books now. You have access to information. Like if
Not-
it's
Not here anymore.
history, these things have happened before.
Mhm.
And some of them in the exact same order.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it's one of the reasons why I've chose not to watch the news lately. Not like I'm completely ignorant, but still, I can't. I just cannot watch it go down.
Yeah.
Just
So for me, oh, go ahead.
no, you go first.
I was gonna say that's why I've stayed away from TikTok mainly recently, because my algorithm is filled with political propaganda on one side or the other, which is crazy to me because I was never on the red side. So why is that showing up now?
Yeah.
The algorithm is so messed up, and it just spends all day just torturing me if I go there for too long. So I just stay away, go in there maybe a couple minutes at a time, and that's about it. I learned what's going on from my best friend because he likes to give himself anxiety. Yeah. So my best friend, is gay, and he's over here considering moving to Germany because his brother's in Germany because of everything that's going on. But he likes to torture me and himself by sending me anything that he feels that I should know. And I was like, I didn't want to see it on my own. Why are you sending it to me?
You need to see the world going down. Like this is. Don't want it. Grab that popcorn.
His answer is like, if I have to see it, you have to see it with me.
Exactly.
I understand. My TikTok algorithm is wonderful, and I'm sorry. I just it's okay. It's okay. She's making too much noise. My TikTok algorithm is wonderful. I get the most affirming stuff on there all the time. I love it.
My IG, I don't use TikTok. My IG is full of cats, and that has helped me through the pandemic. Like you have no idea.
That's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah, my IG is a little crazy. I think it's the American social media algorithms that are really messed up. Because 1 second I'll be watching a dancing video. It's like an old couple dancing salsa. And I'm like, oh, that looks so cute. Look at that old couple. Like, that's adorable. Next thing you know, it's like some fascist video about some guy talking just a bunch of crap. Just a bunch of crap. And I was like, why? I have never seen these videos before. Like, why are you doing this to me?
Raldia, it looks like you're in Fashion Week. Keep going. Keep going.
So you're on mute.
Oh yeah, she's muted.
I'm sorry, I forgot I muted myself because it makes some noise and I didn't want to interrupt Maya. But yeah, it's just like it's a struggle. It's a struggle, people. But we got this.
If anything, it just looks like you're in a pool. It's like a reflection.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Mhm.
I'll be in charge of the visual effects.
So, do we have any more questions for Maya?
Are you looking to reestablish your relationship with the divine, coming from I forgot what was the name you gave it. Sorry. Well, religious.
Oh, it's agnostic? Yeah. Yeah, I'm always interested in learning more. So definitely reading more into it. Like I said, I believe that there is a higher power, whether that's the universe or some deity of sorts. I don't know. But things have happened in my life, and I have spoken and asked for things and received them. So that's why I feel like there is something there. There is something that I'm connected to on a certain level that has made things happen for me.
Yeah, I'm asking because normally when something bad happens to us, I mean, I'm assuming it's happening to everybody, not just me. You get that question like, oh, why is this happening to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And usually you would go, like, if you believe, right, you would go to the divine being, right, and ask, like, why is this happening to me, right? Like, am I being, like, punished for something? Am I doing something wrong, right?
Yeah.
And sometimes it might just look like chaos and pull you away from that relationship that you have.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's why I was curious, like, how did you move away from that that breakup, let's say.
Yeah, so with me, okay, so I had a really traumatic breakup, my last breakup. It was awful, awful. Um, and when I sought out counseling from my pastor, right, after that breakup, the answer that I got was forgive him and go through counseling with him. And it was all centered around him. It was not a single ounce of empathy or sympathy for me or what he had put me through. And that's when I realized that a man-made religion was not for me. Because they were not looking out for me. They were looking out for the male, him, because he's supposed to be the leader. Because in the Christian Bible, it says you have God, right? Then you have the husband, then the wife, the children. And if you take away the husband, then what good are you? You can't have a direct connection to God. Like, you can't have that direct connection yourself. And that's what they believe. Like, truly. But I was told this. That why could I not make things work with a monster? And if I ever, in the future, maybe I'll share details, but a monster of a human being. I was no longer willing to endanger my life, my being, my soul, just because they chose that, hey, the man matters more.
Yeah, you definitely made the right choice on that one.
Yeah, and I had trouble at first. At first, I thought I was going to lean very atheist, right? Because I was like, this can't be it. Like, the whys, right? The whys. Why did this happen? Why is this happening? Why was this allowed?
Yeah.
Why does this happen to other people? Not even just myself. Like, why do other people have to go through this? Because I've led a decent life where I have always, I mean, you've heard snippets of it on the lives where I tell people, if you need to hear something, if you want encouragement, reach out to me. That has been me my whole life. If you need something, I will be that person for you. I will be there for you. If nobody else will be there for you, I will be there for you. Like, I'll give you 5 minutes of my time. I'll give you 10 minutes of my time, whatever you need. Like, that's the type of person that I've been since I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
I was beating up bullies for my family members. Yes, I'm a little violent sometimes. But it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, like, and nobody could mess with people that I cared about. If you were part of mine, then I got you. Like,
There comes a point where you have to be violent. The way of the leaf is not always the right way.
yeah.
Unless you, but obviously the way of the leaf until you hit the ground, and then it's someone's got to pay.
Yeah. I'm a believer of I won't start something, but be sure that I will end it.
Yeah, I can
Like
appreciate.
I will put an end to it. So yeah, that's what I did for my friends, for family members, anybody who ever went through anything. I was there for them. But I found myself a lot in the situation that when I was going through something, I was looking around and nobody was there. But so all the whys came from those points, right? Where, why, if I'm like this, is this happening? But there's other things that have occurred, like family members that have been ill, things like that, things that I have asked, and somehow good things have happened still. So I'm like, okay, there was this one horrible thing that happened, but 3 good things happened. Like, I had surgery last year, and it was the scariest thing. I didn't know I was going to wake up. I didn't know I was going to be here. And that's why this year has been so important to me, because I want to flip everything upside down, because this is a new chance at life. Like, I'm here, I'm healthier, I'm happy. I just want to make everybody happy and be happy.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
it.
Tank.
I love that. I love that.
Artist.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't care anymore. Like, that's really where I'm at. I just don't care. I don't care to be polite enough. I don't care to be censored. I don't care to be anything that anybody else wants. I'm just going to be me, damn it.
That's exactly how I feel. That's why I'm making this podcast.
And the funny thing is that, like, I've been asked to be on podcasts for years, and I have never said yes, but I said yes to you.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Special moment. I love it.
Yeah, yeah. So it's my first. Okay. We should move on to another topic.
Yeah, for me, I just, if I want to ask, Raldia, are you religious?
I'm spiritual.
Okay.
I am spiritual. I was asking Maya because obviously I was curious how other people do it, because I'm also like dealing with that in my life. So I started as religious. I spent a lot of time with my grandparents in the countryside, and obviously I was going to church regularly.
Yeah.
Knew all the songs, knew the prayers, knew everything. Every night there was prayer. But I was fed this idea of this always kind, divine, and always there for the weak, always there to listen to you, to your prayers. And I also had this like children's Bible that obviously was like not the real deal, which is like very curated, let's say, with only nice stories, right? About people getting helped. And yeah, nobody was scared. Nobody was, It was perfect. And I loved it. I loved it. Like I would ask my grandma to read me every night, right? Because it was this fantasy of like, whenever you're down, whenever something bad happens to you, there is God like saving everything, right? And there are good people out there, right? So I kind of was like, I felt protected, right? Um, Fast forward, I get into school, and school for me has been brutal. Like, um, especially the first years of school. That is when I actually, and even starting with kindergarten, that's when I've actually encountered bullying, uh, physical aggression in between kids, um, and it did not make sense. So I spent a lot of time. I was coming from school home, and I was like hiding because anyway, at home it was that's a whole different story. But I wasn't supported or allowed to show my emotions. So I was hiding myself in the closet, crying because I saw other children first, like being bullied and being beaten just for being different, just for being themselves, I say. So I was like praying every night, like, why is this happening? It was such a shock for me as a child. And yeah, my mom found me once. She gave me a beating. Like, why are you crying? Like, you have no reason to cry. Why are you always crying? Like, what's happening? Anyway, I love my mom. I adore my mom, but she wasn't prepared. She wasn't prepared, like, let's say, for a child that was really sensitive, and I mean, children don't come with the manual. I mean, that's clear, and you do the best you can. That was her best. But yeah, that thing, and as well as thing that were happening in the church, like old ladies telling me, no, you shouldn't do the cross like this. You should do the cross like that. No, don't kneel now. You need to kneel when the priest says whatever. And I'm like, I am 7. Can I live? Like, what is your deal? But they had nothing else to do, right?
That's really young for
For me,
like
that
an
was very,
assertive identity. I'm 7.
yeah,
This is me. You back
yeah.
away.
Exactly. Like it was too much for me, and so I came to the conclusion. So my psyche came to the conclusion that there is no God, because if there's no one that can protect these children around me, like it did not make sense. It did not make sense for me. Like, why is it like help coming? Why is it? Yeah. So it took me away from that, and for the longest time, I was an atheist. I did not believe. I was really curious about all occult stuff, like esoteric stuff. Um, but surprisingly enough, what drew me back to believing was not Christianism. It was actually shamanism and theta healing. That's what actually brought me back. So there are things that probably by Christians are seen as like pagan, right? They're still like whatever.
The
It's
Christian
not real.
religion is built on pagan blocks.
Yeah. And there's that. But yeah, so that is what brought me back, because I came back to this like uh state of prayer and just like meditation and just a small space where I can experience the divine. And yeah, that was amazing. And I had a lot of amazing experiences since I've started working on that. So yeah, I'm spiritual. And what you were saying, Maya, like you don't believe in like a man-made. I've always said this, like I don't believe in the God in the books of man, from the books of man. Like, because that, no matter what religion you look at, it's just like 1%. Come on now, 1%. Like, we don't know a lot.
This might sound very bad, but the god in those books, he's a kid on an anthill with a magnifying glass, and he's trying to burn you. That is not.
Imagine my surprise when I read the actual Bible for the first. Oh my God. Oh
I
my God.
I totally want to believe in God. I used to be like, I used to be very religious as well. Dutch Reformed, and our house is next to the. It used to be the biggest church in the Southern Hemisphere for a while in South Africa, like literally across the road. It could seat 7,000 people in that one church, and I was part of the technical crew. Like I helped to do the lights on Sundays, and I would walk home at night on a Sunday and be talking to Jesus. He never answered me. Um, and then I started getting curious because there was this like rhetoric inside the church that you shouldn't, that you should block these other information sources out. Like, don't look at this Bible or don't look at that. Or I looked at all of it, and eventually I was like, some of this is really good. This is better.
Yeah.
Some of this is better, objectively better.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of decided that obviously this is not the way. Oh yeah, I was a creationist for a while as well, like an evangelical creationist. But over time, I just moved away from all of that, and now I think that there is more beauty in the random and the intrinsic than there is in giving these things to an external power. There's more
That you
beauty.
feel like both of these can be true at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I can't say that I believe in a God, but I want to believe in a higher power. I believe in manifestation. I believe
Yeah.
that if you're a sad person all the time and you don't put yourself out there and you never talk, nothing's gonna happen to you. So yeah.
That's true. That's true. I think I find so much beauty in randomness, and a lot of people will say like, "Oh no, that's chaos. Like that is not something that it is part of like the whole process, like creation and all that. Like everything is already planned, something like that, right?" But I think randomness is part of it because I do believe that everything that we see around us, like it had a beginning, something happened in order for it to transform, right? Not to change, but transform, right? And I think it's all part of it. And for me, it gives it beauty, Maybe we don't understand it. Maybe we perceive it as randomness, like chaos.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, like I had this huge intrinsic fear of trans people for the longest time in South Africa. It's really, but now the idea of this like fluidity of gender and this femininely masculine and masculinely feminine and all of it, it's beautiful. Like it.
Yeah. 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 I also find it amazing, and I'm so curious, and that is one. I think it's the biggest thing that I love about myself, the curiosity, because it has taken me to places I would never think that I would go. I don't know if my English is Englishing right now,
No,
but
it's Englishing.
you get me. Because fuck tenses. But yeah, it has taken me to a lot of amazing places, and just like being able to go past that fear of the unknown,
Yeah.
and seeing so much diversity. It's just so beautiful. It does not make life boring.
Yeah.
That's what I adore about it. Like you constantly discover something. And yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it's funny because I think the wanting to know more and knowing that there is more to the spiritual actually comes from my bloodline. Like I always say that I come from strong women. My grandmother, devout Catholic, right? Super. Like, I mean, I was with this lady when I lived with her in El Salvador at church every day. Like, that was the little girl. That was me with her every single day. I have never liked the Catholic religion because I think it's very ritualistic and kind of what you were saying, like, you have to do the cross this way. You have to kneel
The
at
Catholic
this
shame
at
is,
this point. You have to do this at this time in this order because
Yeah.
that is what the Pope says you have to do.
and you never question it.
Yeah. I was also like you, Raldia. I was 7 years old asking my grandmother, but why? Pero por qué? But why?
Because the priest says so, bro. What do you mean? Right?
And then she would look at me. I would swear she probably wanted to smack me. But it was always a why. It wasn't the why of if God existed. It was the why of why does it have to be this way though?
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to follow these instructions? Why do I have to sing these hymns? Why do I have to pray in this way? Can't I just have a conversation with him?
Yeah.
Like, can I just not speak to him? Like, why is there all these barriers in the way? And I was a little kid thinking these things, which makes sense of who I am, I guess. But those are the thoughts. But her mother, my great grandmother, was a curandera.
Mhm.
So she was an herbalist.
Curandera.
An herbalist, like a woman in the town that would make remedies and
But I
heal people and that kind of thing. Yeah,
we have a word in Romania. I don't know the word for that. I guess it would be healer.
yeah,
That's
like
they used to call them
Town
healers.
healers.
Yeah.
yeah. Not in the sense of like spells or anything like that. It was all with nature's God or nature's given. See, God given. Anyways,
Yeah.
nature's things like. And my grandmother also did that. I never took regular medicine when I lived with my grandmother. It was always, here is this thing that I made, drink it. So, like, my love for teas, a lot of people say, oh, I don't like teas. I can't do bitter teas. I've never added honey to my teas.
Wow.
Because I've been drinking them bitter since I was, I don't know how old. But yeah, so because of my great grandmother, I have dreamt her. I never met her, but I have dreamt her.
That's cool.
That's beautiful.
And I have asked if this is what she looked like, and my mom has told me, yes, that's what she looked like.
Ancestral
I was like,
memory.
yes. And I have, like, the one dream that comes to mind is she was wearing all white, and there was a man who was sick in his bed, and she was putting something, like, under his bed, and then also was making him drink something to help him. Like, and I know I don't really share this often with people, but I don't know how I know this, but I know it. I know what she looked like. I know what she did, and I don't know how.
There are things that
We don't need to know how.
exist. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There are things that exist out there that we don't have yet the explanation for, but they are real. They definitely are real. We just like sometimes dismiss them as just like imagination, right? Or it's just like a dream. It was just a dream. It was just a nightmare,
Yeah. Yeah. And so because of the dreams that I've had, I guess have been able to connect a little bit here and there with some of the people that I never met in that lineage. And I stick to the lineage of my grandmother and that's the last name that I carry, by the way. I don't carry any other, like, my last name is my grandmother's last name, and it will remain my grandmother's last name. Yeah, because I think that was her last name. That was my great grandmother's last name. So carrying that on.
Yeah.
Let's carry on with the next topic. I've already spun the wheel. I did record spinning the wheel. It is me. I feel kind of bad about the result.
Now you're
So I'll go, but Raldia, I think Oh no, she's stuck. Oh no, everyone's stuck. Oh, there we go. We're back.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll say my problem. For most of my life, I have been afraid to voice my opinion. This is the one I wrote down. For fear of what people might think. Now I feel it's a toxic mindset instilled by the system to keep the proletariat in its place. Yeah.
I relate to that. To not being able to express your emotions. Not feeling accepted, truly accepted, unless you agree with the people around you. You know, it chips away at your identity, bit by bit. And my question for you would be, now that you are expressing your opinions, now that you are expressing those emotions, does it feel freeing, uncomfortable, or a mix of both? Because obviously there's like there's a process involved, right?
Yeah.
So right now, where are you exactly in that process, and how does it feel? I mean, I know it obviously it's better to express your emotions, but internally,
it's hard to say where I am in that process. It's almost impossible to say. But I'm somewhere along the road, and I'm still in that trap. I still fear, but I'm aware of it now, and it's easier to start overcoming it. What was the other part of the question? Is it freeing? Does it give me anxiety? It's definitely more free. I'm proud of myself when I walk away and I said what I wanted to say or do what I wanted to do. But there's still a fear. So yeah, a little bit of both. And I think that sometimes I still agree with people for the sake of agreement.
I get you. Like experiencing the same thing. I find it freeing, but also like it really gets this pressure off my chest. But it also makes me feel there is a guilt obviously associated with it, because there was a guilt that I felt whenever I was expressing in my childhood, I was expressing emotions, you know.
Oh yeah.
So there is a guilt when I see people, the way they react to whatever I'm saying. So instead of focusing on, I just need to get this out, I'm trying to focus on how do I get it out in a way that is also productive for the conversation, right? Because if I just like blurt it out and it's just like something unfiltered, it's just going to ruin all of my relationship. It's just going to ruin everything around me. And that's not the purpose of it. The purpose is just like to express myself and be able with the people around me to work on our relationship or whatever it is, right? So this is what I did, like focusing on how can I put this in a way that it still allows me to express myself, but also does not, polarize people.
Do you think that doing that puts you in a trap where you're still doing it, even though you're trying?
It might. I thought about this, like, oh, am I still in that trap? Well, at least, you know what I thought? At least I'm taking one step, at least.
Yeah.
Right? By allowing myself to talk about the things that really, because, I've always been like social. I've always made a lot of friends and stuff like that, but I was very controlling of what information I was giving access to. I could talk about a lot of things, but I would not talk about how I really felt about stuff. And now I talk about stuff, and the first thing that I noticed is that it comes out with such intensity. I'm crying, I'm screaming, I'm still aware. Like I try to let the people around me know, like I'm going through it. I'm going through it. Just bear with me. It might sound bad. I'm sorry. Like I'm also Libra. Like I go from this side to this side, like real fast. Like I'm trying to get to the middle, right? Oh, so I try to make sure that people know, but I still like I want to do the right thing. So yeah, it might be a trap in the sense that I am still not dealing fully with like why is that emotion even there? Why do I feel like that? Right? Because you can't just treat the surface, right? You also need to treat like why do I feel offended? Why do I feel sad about this at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Does it really affect me that much? You know? So dealing with that and also dealing with the way you pass the message to the other people. I think it just helps keep you on, like a
Yeah.
what do you call that in English? Like floating.
On the level.
I mean, balance. Yeah.
Yeah, imbalance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned caring about something, and you're asking why do you care about it. So I hate self-help books, but I read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and I found that to be very helpful at just putting a little mental barometer in your brain, going, "This isn't going to change the outcome of my life, so I do not care." That's it.
Yeah.
That you don't need to read the book. That's what it says. It says,
Yeah.
is it going to change the outcome of your life? No, then stop caring.
I totally agree with you. There's a lot of content about self-development out there. Not all of it good,
Yeah.
a lot of it shitty, but still there are some good things that I read. Not the entire book, but at least some of the messages like really got to me. And I'm sorry, do you hear this?
The tick.
Construction. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
construction going on right now. What
But
are
not
you
a
thinking?
lot. Like very, very little.
Oh, I don't even have a setting. Like, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It'll get taken out anyway.
So coming back to it, there's a lot of books on self-development, not all of them good. There are some of them that do have some really good messages within them. I personally am attracted to the ones that have science to back them up,
Oh yeah.
right?
My
They have
favorite
those
book of
people
all
like,
time is called Algorithms to Live By. And it's the application of computer algorithms into your life. And that
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense to me.
I resonate with a lot of like Joe Dispenza's work because he goes through the data. Like I'm in between like believing you and whatever juju you're doing, but I also need to see some data.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit of that as well, right? And there are some really really good books out there on how to improve and work for that. The juju, exactly, like yeah. And you know what I hate? I hate when they tell you, no, do this, do that. I'm telling you
No.
what to do.
No.
Whatever you're doing, it's wrong. I hate books like that. Like,
No.
hold on a
Yeah.
second.
Those are all the business ones I've read.
Teach me why was I doing it wrong, not to repeat it in the future.
Yeah.
Because I cannot change like from this to this, like just
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like I'm blabbing a lot. I like
No.
No.
I need to refill my wine. Can I do that?
yeah.
Yes.
It's been like a really rough time, like since 2019
Yeah.
until now. Like the past 3 years, have been pretty hard, like health wise, like physically. 2019 was like heavily mentally, but it also like I almost died from that shit. Like it brought me to a point where I was in my house, like walking like on all fours, and I also developed like an OCD. And my mom, I actually called for my mom. The only time I called for my mom and actually trusted her after so many years. But I've asked her, like, when you see me, because I knew, like, I did not look good. Like, I lost so much weight. I could not stomach anything, like, not even water. So I was there for like a week and a half without food, without, like, I was actually just like forcing food down my stomach because I knew, like, I need something, but it was just like vomiting, and I couldn't even breathe too hard because I was vomiting. Like, it felt like a purge. And I was obsessed with the why. That is one of the reasons why I was also mentioning earlier, like the why. And I was like questioning everything. I even prayed after so many years of not even saying a prayer. I prayed and I was asking, like, why is this happening? Like, do not forget about me and stuff like that. And I tried everything. Like, at one point I was putting down on pieces of paper everything that I thought I did wrong in this life, trying to trace, like, why is this happening to me? Right. So yeah, my mom came, took care of me, and just like spoon fed me, bro. Like, I was like, I should have been taken to the hospital at that point because I could not eat anything. And I was like weighing, imagine I'm 175 centimeters, right? I was weighing at that point 42 kilos.
Oh my God.
42 kilos. Like,
It's nothing.
my stomach, like when I was like looking in the mirror, it was like
Oh my gosh.
this, like this. And mentally, I was having one anxiety attack after the other. And at one point, I had a really big one, and I was crawling, trying to get help from my neighbors. I was living alone. And as I was approaching the door, at one point, I felt like, oh my God, my heart is going to burst because it was beating so fast. And the reason why I have PTSD now is because at that point, I was so tired that I just like laid on the floor and just gave up. So I reached that point where I was just like ready. Like, if this is happening to me, you know what? Bro, I cannot fight it anymore. Like, I cannot fight. I've tried so many things, like I cannot fight it. So I was just there waiting for it to end. Right. So, and mentally, this shift has been so violent, and even processing it, like being aware that at some point I was just like ready for it to end. That
That's so crazy to think about.
yeah, and imagine that it was happening when I thought my life was doing great. Like, so many amazing things in my life happening. I felt so good about myself and stuff like that, and just like that, one day I woke up and everything changed. At the same time, that was the moment when I switched, like what happened afterwards. When I started to recover, I went on meds. It helped me to eat. That is the only goal that I had. Like, I knew I needed to eat. And so thankfully, SSRIs got me out of it. And not even like a big dose. It was just like 50 milligrams, 50 milligrams of sertraline. And that was it. That got me to eating again. That got me just like relax. Because at one point I was waking up and I thought it was an earthquake. I was calling for my mom. Like, I was so scared. It's an earthquake. And she came and I was like, no, you're shivering. Like, I was actually shivering. Anyway, it's a long story. It's a very big story. And yeah, I got traumatized by it. And now every time something happens, it just scares me so much that I will go back to that point when I would just give up. And I used to be this person, like, so in love with life, and appreciating everything and finding everything so beautiful, like people and
To me,
experiences.
you still are
Yeah,
that person. Like, that's who,
yeah, I still am that person, but knowing that bottom, I'm still working on just like making sure it's okay. I know that bottom, but I have the tools now not to get there, but some part of me is just like freaking scared of that place. Mhm.
Yeah.
Anyway,
No. Thank you for sharing all that.
yeah, yeah.
Like,
You know what?
I could never, honestly, from the little that I've known you for a bit over a month, right? Or yeah, a month and a half, something like that. And I would have never guessed. And we've had some like deeper conversations, and even then, when I've shared my things with you,
Yeah.
you have been such a ray of sunshine. Like seriously, that's who you are to me.
You know, it's exactly what you said. Like what you tell people whenever they feel down. Like if you need someone to talk to, if you need 5 minutes of somebody's time to feel understood, it's the same thing. I think it stems from the same thing that I know how hard it is. So I will always try to help because I
Yeah.
know how it is to be alone because I was going through it alone. Nobody knew. Nobody.
Mhm.
Until I called my mom, nobody knew. And it also took a lot for me to call my mom and trust her that way. Like
Yeah.
from moving away from a relationship where in my childhood I was not allowed to show any emotion, you know. But I told her if there's
Mhm.
ever a moment when I need you to just come and just like so not even support me, but help me go through this and not cry, not be judgmental, right? This is the time because if you cannot do that, I I don't know what's going to happen to me.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful that she understood that, because it helped a lot, like healing our relationship and stuff like that, like for her to be able to go past her emotions and not being, so narcissist about whatever she's going through, and make it
And
about, yeah.
and that's amazing growth on her part too.
Yeah, I know my mom
I
has experienced so much growth. Like I'm happy to have been able to heal that and just like,
yeah,
yeah.
because speaking on the term, like I'm I'm flabbergasted because I could never. My mom would be the last person. Like I love my mom dearly. She does not have the emotional intelligence or awareness to ever help me out. She would sink me deeper.
It's the same thing that I mean, I don't want to assume everybody has their own
Mhm.
whatever, but I discovered that being the Lulu sometimes and forcing that relationship, forcing that type of relationship you want to have
Mhm.
onto them, even if it's uncomfortable,
Oh
even
yeah,
if it doesn't feel like you, even if you like, why am I like hugging my dad? Like we've never
yeah,
done, our
yeah,
relationship is never like that, but
yeah.
just like forcing yourself to do it. Like the first time that I
Mhm.
did that, it was awkward for the both of us.
Mhm.
And it's like two socially awkward penguins hugging each other, like with their little wings,
Yeah, yeah,
Doing
no,
that year after year. And every time I saw them, it actually did something, you know?
yeah.
It actually, over time, they felt comfortable to open themselves to me,
Mhm.
you know, and just like express their emotions as well, because they were not taught to be
Oh
like that,
no,
you know?
no, no, and
But it's something beautiful that happens when you allow people and you
mhm.
make the safe space for them to just try it, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So I do believe there
And
is a,
and I've been doing that with her for years. Like my mom went from the person that would never say I love you or give you a hug or compliments. Well, compliments she did do. She's a very vain person.
yeah.
So, but it was in the way of you're so pretty because you're my child, so you're my little trophy kind of thing. Like that's how it
Mm,
was.
yeah.
Same thing with my brother. My brother's so perfect because that's her child,
Yeah.
right? Like it was from that place. And she has had growth because going from a person that never said I love you or hugged her kids or anything like that, she hugs us, hugs her grandkids. I mean, she is very loving in that sense, verbally and even physically.
Yeah.
However, when you try to break down certain walls with her, because I've tried, that Delulu states, oh yes, I'm the type that writes novels for them in birthday cards. Like I am telling them everything that they make me feel and more. Like pouring and pouring and pouring into them. and she'll appreciate that and love it. But in the turn, it's like, well, I'm happy that it's your birthday. Happy birthday. I love you so much. You're so beautiful. You're this and that. But it's very superficial.
Devoid of emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I did? I bullied them into doing it.
Maybe that's what I need to do. I don't know.
Seriously. Like from the exterior, it feels like I'm bullying them, but actually I gave them, those books where they have like prompts, like to
I
write.
did. I've given her that. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's been sitting on her bookcase for years.
No, I'm bullying them. I'm constantly calling them like, get to writing. Get to writing. Yeah, I'm actually applying what they did when I was a child, and it's so funny. And in some ways, it heals me. It's like
maybe I need to parent her better then, because
I just like educating.
My dad is the lost cause, but I say he's a lost cause because I never really grew up with him, so our relationship has always been awkward. But he lives in another country, so when we do talk, he likes to keep it very positive, very, sweet, because we don't talk that often, so therefore it should always be on a positive note. And when I do see him, he's great to talk to. He has a lot of good points of views and this and that. But do I really know the real him? Probably not. I know a curated version of him.
Yeah.
But my mom is the one that I spend more time with, right? And my sister and my brother. Like, my brother is very emotionally aware, very intelligent. I like to say that it's because he has sisters only that he has been able to, be okay with being vulnerable and expressing himself. Which is funny because my older sister is not very vulnerable or expressive. She is with me, but like when we're alone, not in front of other people.
Oh, she's speaking. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with me, she'll call me and tell me everything that's going on under the sun, and I'm listening and listening, giving her advice. But she would never speak like that in front of everybody else. In front of everybody else, she has this armor, and always just the older sister.
Yeah.
And my brother, in his mindset, he's like, I'm the baby, I'm the only boy, like, I'm who I am, and I am. He's never had an identity issue, like, he's always just been him, which is amazing. Love that for him. And then with my mom, it's just like, you get to a certain point and a certain level, and she refuses to dig deeper.
Yeah. It's not an easy thing to do,
Yeah. And she has like shared, I wasn't brought up like this. This is not something I can do comfortably. And I tell her, well, tell me one thing. Just one. And then I'll ask her the next time, remember when you said that? What do you mean? What did you mean by that? And she's like, I don't have time right now. And I'm like, okay.
I know
so it's respond better than just to be vulnerable sometimes. Just to let go of that control.
Yeah. But going back to the question I did have for you, circling back.
I'm right.
I wanted to ask, because it's similar to the question you asked me, like, how did you become aware that, you had that fear or that you felt those emotions about really sharing your thoughts or how people perceived you? Because I think it has a lot to do with that too, like how people perceived you and you're being uncomfortable with rocking that boat, right? You wanted to kind of fit into what they thought of you. Because that's the only thing I can think of personally. Like, if I've ever not shared my thoughts, it's because this is who they think I am. So I'll let them think that I am that.
I ran out of candles.